It takes about 1 to 2 months of confusion, feeling lost, and being on the verge of giving up for the right amount of vision to form where you have absolute clarity and launch into a new way of life. If you want to launch into a new way of life, the first thing you need to understand is that life unfolds in chapters, and each chapter is a predictable sequence of 4 phases. There's the limbo phase, where you don't know what to do or what you want. There's the vision phase, where an image for the future forms, you act on a new path, and momentum builds. There's the flow phase, where you can't pull yourself away from the goal you're pursuing. And then there's the resistance phase, where exponential progress doesn't last forever, but you don't want it to end, and that's often to your own detriment. But most people get trapped in the first phase, the limbo phase, because your entire life you've been trained to follow a script. You're used to the linear results of schools and jobs. You're used to someone else giving you your certainty. But when it comes to living an unconventional life, because that's the only way to get unconventional results, you interpret feeling lost as a bad sign. So you jump ship and return to the comfortable life that was planned for you in a system that only cares for its own benefit. And that's probably why you're watching this. You hate the thought of ending up like everyone else. But that means you're on your own. And that usually feels like you're lost in this dense forest and all you can see is trees, right? You don't have the awareness that 5 yards away, there's a clear path that you can take to the top of the mountain. So here's how you get out. And by the way, I created an AI prompt that turns your life into a video game, and you can use it to guide you through implementing what's in this video. And I have to say, it's pretty sweet. It helps you identify where you are, helps identify what your passions or interests are, and then it turns those into a main quest, side quests, character traits to improve, so on and so forth. The link to that is in the description, but that leads us into step 1, which is how to collect vision. Your mind makes sense of the world in stories. That's why you feel lost, because you don't know what story you are living out, or you're living out a story that someone else assigned to you, and you can feel that misalignment in your soul. The hardest part about taking back control of your life is collecting the right puzzle pieces until just the right amount of vision forms, where you have enough clarity to act with confidence. And at first, the puzzle looks like a jumbled mess. Your brain can't make sense of it. You get stressed and worried, which leads to a narrow and negative mind, which makes it painstakingly difficult to notice new opportunities. That's why you feel stuck. So that's step 1. Give yourself permission to allow your life to get worse. Now, if you weren't expecting that, let me explain. The reason you feel lost, dull, or even lifeless is because you don't have a clear goal to work towards. But that's the exact problem, is you don't know what you want. You don't know what goal you want to pursue. Since you feel lost and your mind is turbulent, a clear goal is the last thing your mind will be able to think of, and you'll often make excuses as to why that isn't the right one to pursue in the first place. But the thing is, goals don't exist in isolation. A strong, purposeful goal is the result of the exact opposite, a negative outcome that you will fight tooth and nail to avoid. And once you've experienced that outcome firsthand, you'll do anything to not relive it. You need a problem to solve. You need an enemy to attack. And when you have something to avoid, your goal increases in both gravity, pulling you towards it, and clarity. So that's where you turn your focus. Ask yourself, if I keep doing the same things, where will my life end up? Sit with that thought. Really sit with it. Let it consume your mind, because when it starts to take over, your mind will be hungry to learn, experiment, and grow. Step 2 is how to change your mind, because you act the way you do right now because you already have a goal. That's how the mind works. Your mind is a goal-striving machine that perceives the world in a way that allows it to collect useful information to achieve that goal. The thing is, you're unconscious of the goal you're pursuing, and it's ruining your life. Aristotle believed that the final cause of a situation is the ultimate purpose or end goal for which it exists. In Adlerian psychology, with a focus on teleology, we are not pushed by our past, but pulled by our goals. We act in a way that is beneficial toward the aim in which we're directed, so toward the goal. So in other words, and this can be a mind bender for many, you are in your current situation because you want to be, but that's unconscious to you, and you probably won't believe it at first. You feel lost, confused, or overwhelmed because it's beneficial for achieving the goal of avoiding the pain, fear, and embarrassment that comes with doing something unconventional with your life. So when you're entering this new chapter in your life, you may not have a clear positive goal of, oh, I want to get super ripped or start this billion-dollar business or whatever it may be, but you still have a goal. All humans have goals at all times. Even you moving your hand or taking a step forward or whatever it may be is aligned with a goal of something you're trying to do. So if we work backwards from that and understand, okay, where is my mind at right now? What actions am I taking right now? What goal does that align with? And for most people, with feeling lost and coming up with all of these excuses and other things, their unconscious goal that they aren't aware of is to stay the same because they want to avoid the pain that comes with change. And the sooner you become aware of that, the sooner you can change the goal that your mind is operating on to be one that is more positive. But the good thing here is that with step 1, we've already primed our mind for change by gaining complete awareness on what we don't want in life by doing what we're currently doing. Now, to change your mind completely, you need to immerse yourself in new sources of information to discover the puzzle pieces that lead to clarity. Read new books, talk to new people, follow new accounts, visit a place you've been wanting to go on a long walk and throw on a podcast, take a course on a new skill to enhance your career or start a business. Or you can knock out 2 birds with 1 stone because I recently released a mini course on how I systemize my life with AI, which teaches you how to create a focus coach or a tribe of mentors to enhance your thinking, or how to enhance your content writing or your marketing or copywriting. But the thing here is you can both use AI in this sense to get unstuck, and you can use it to learn AI, a new skill, right? So you can knock out 2 birds with 1 stone. There's a link in the description for that. Now, it doesn't really matter what information you consume as long as it's something that has the potential to spark change. Because when your mind is in a state of wanting to avoid the current trajectory of your life, the new goal, this is when true learning occurs. You will feel the dopamine spurt into your brain when you find a potential opportunity to pursue. Now, within a few weeks, you should have some idea of the life you want to live, right? Because so many people just feel like they have to have this like absolutely clear goal, this absolutely clear vision of what they want to do, when you already know what kind of life you want to live. You understand that you don't want to live a bad life. You understand that you want a good life, and you have some kind of an image of that. You can think of a very vague idea of a good life that you want to live and just start working in that direction, right? It's a general aim. You don't even need to know what to do or what you're doing as long as you're going in that direction rather than the opposite. But how you move along that path is up to step 3, which is to gamify your life, or to turn your life into a video game. Because your mind runs on a storyline, and games are pre-constructed stories with certain mechanisms that narrow your focus and make progress enjoyable. When you play a game, there are a clear hierarchy of goals so you know how to win, direct feedback so you know when you are making progress, and rules that add a sense of challenge and skill development. Now, all of these are core components of flow psychology. And if you don't know what the flow state is, it's the state of optimal experience that we often fall in love with or crave. It's when we lose that sense of self-consciousness. We become one with the task at hand. And this is why social media companies and gaming companies and entertainment companies in general spend billions upon billions of dollars investing in research for how to replicate these mechanisms in the games, in the social media, in the media in general, so that we become addicted to it. But what few people realize is that you can also study and understand these mechanisms and replicate them in your own life to move in a positive direction, to gamify your life. That way you're actually making progress on something real rather than thinking you're making progress on something that's fake. So the first step to gamifying your life is to just design the game. And with this, we first need to understand that most people have a very mediocre definition of what a goal is. A goal is an aim. A goal is not something that you must achieve at all costs. A goal is a lens from which to make decisions. The goals themselves are supposed to change and evolve as you become more experienced. Now, most people are starting to write this off as something that doesn't work. The following list that I'm going to go over. They think it's just some self-help or productivity hack that people don't really need to use. So that list of things to do is to create a hierarchy of goals composed of an end goal, long-term goals, and short-term goals. So you can just think of this as okay, what's something out there that I would want? What's a 1-year goal that I can achieve to help me get there? What about a 1-month goal, a 1-week goal? And then we can break it down further from there. The next thing is to create the rules of the game you're playing. So what are you not willing to sacrifice in your life to make progress toward the end goal? Do you not want to sacrifice your health or your relationships, or do you not want to work long hours? And this adds constraints. It makes the game creative. You can achieve success without working long hours. There is a way to do it. You can achieve success without sacrificing your health. You can achieve success without sacrificing your relationships. Most people just don't choose that path because they either don't think it's possible or they just don't know what they don't know, and they're not willing to admit that they don't know how to do that thing and they don't want to learn it. And the last thing here is to use quantifiable priority tasks as feedback loops, like writing 1,000 words a day, reading 10 pages, or reaching out to 5 potential clients. So those are your levers, right? Your long-term goals, like the 10-year goal, the 1-year goal, the 1-month goal. Those are just the direction you're heading in, right? You don't have to achieve that thing specifically. You're just trying to move in that direction, and it helps you create clarity for what you do right now. The 1,000 words a day or quantifiable priority task is just how you get there. And by completing those 1,000 words, it's the feedback loop that lets you know that you're making progress. It's just one piece of the puzzle for gamifying your life and making it more enjoyable, because that's how your mind responds to a game. Now, the thing here is that your life loses the spark of novelty and pattern recognition when you have a vague or unconscious story you are living out. So when you create the order your mind craves, chaos is much easier to keep at bay. Now, step number 2 with gamifying your life is to create a tutorial phase, because in a game, you learn by doing, not by studying endless tutorials or watching gameplay. And you can watch tutorials and gameplay, of course, but if you do so before you actually start playing the game, that's not learning. That's entertainment. If you've ever played a video game, you know you can go watch streamers play the game all day long. And sure, you can start to understand, okay, I understand the game. I can probably start playing it. I know what to do. But then you sit down and start playing, and your fingers don't know what keys to press. You don't know how to move the mouse in a specific way. You haven't practiced. You haven't done anything. And eventually you learn that what you watched doesn't align with the actual reality of what you're doing. But of course, once you actually start playing the game first, once it's something that you do, once it's a part of your identity and something you do every day, then when you go to watch tutorials or gameplay, you can pick up strategies or tactics or hacks that you want to try because you understand how to specifically implement them. And then the more strategies or other things that you collect from other people and combine into your own, that's what makes your own gameplay unique. So start playing the game. Don't worry if you aren't absolutely confident in whether it's what you want to do for the rest of your life, because you figure out what you want to do by error correcting, and you can't correct an error that doesn't exist. So once you are playing your game, the one you're creating, you supplement your mind with the 2 following things. One is the fundamentals, because most success is not getting distracted from the fundamentals. And 2 is specific solutions. So an intentional search for an answer once you can't make progress by your own knowledge or intuition. The main priority tasks for your day should be learning and building for 1 to 2 hours at a time. These do not happen in isolation. And for those who haven't made AI a part of their life right now, this is arguably the best use case for beginners for AI, is just to get unstuck. Because if I'm creating something in Photoshop or I'm writing my 1,000 words a day, I don't have to have AI do that thing for me, but it can be this creative sparring partner, a thought partner that helps me overcome my creative blocks. So if I'm in Photoshop and I don't know how to do something, I can literally type, hey, I'm trying to do this in Photoshop. What do I try? What do I do? What are 5 different ways to do this? And it'll spit it out. And then you try those and you overcome that block. You get unstuck. And this isn't outsourcing your learning. This is just how you learn in general in the most effective way, but now it's sped up with AI because you can just open it and ask anything. And you take it even further, you don't have to ask AI to give you exactly what to do. You can say, hey, here's what I'm doing, here's where I'm at, here's where I'm stuck. Can you help me identify my own knowledge gaps, my blind spots, and maybe give me 3 questions to ask you to help me make progress? And if you do that, I think you'll be very surprised with how much faster you can overcome these blocks. And if you do that consistently, day in, day out, you're making progress a lot faster than many other people. Now, step 3 for gamifying your life is to stay at the edge of the unknown. Because in some video games, you have this minimap. And on that minimap, there are the spots you've explored, which are light and bright. You know that you've explored them. And then there's the dark areas where you can't see anything on the map. You haven't gone there yet. And this indirectly represents 2 things inside the game, which is your skill level and your experience. Because in the dark places on the minimap, those are higher level than you, right? You haven't explored them. There's quests that you can't take on. There's higher level monsters and people. And if you were to somehow, because you probably can't get there right now because there isn't a path to get there, but if you were to somehow just teleport into the middle of the unknown, it's like you're jumping into the middle of the ocean and you don't know how to swim. A higher level character is just going to come and one-shot you. The monsters are going to two-shot you. You can't even do any of the quests there. You can't do any of the dungeons. You're just like running back to safety the entire time. You're anxious. But on the flip side, if you stay inside the places that you know for too long, you just get bored because you're higher level, right? In Pokemon, you're catching all of these low-level Pokemon. In World of Warcraft, you're just one-shotting these monsters and collecting a few bits of gold. But in the unknown, the gold is higher. The experience that you can gain from it is higher. So in reality, if you take on a challenge or a task that is too high for your skill level, you're going to get anxious and you're probably not going to make that much progress. If you continue doing the same task day in, day out without any novelty or challenge, you're going to get bored and you're going to wonder why you aren't doing something else with your time. So in both scenarios, you're not making substantial progress. So the solution is to stay right at the edge of your challenge level. So to stay in the range of optimal experience or enjoying your life, you need to consistently cultivate your skill set and take on higher challenges. That's where the meaningful flow of information is maximized. That's where you feel as if you are always learning something new. That's where your life becomes an enjoyable blur of progress, a spiritual state of clear perception where things just feel right. And this is also why a 9-to-5 job is a great stepping stone, but is often a death sentence. You learn and progress until you're stuck doing the same thing over and over again. That's not a meaningful way to live. It psychologically castrates you and bleeds into all other areas of your life. Now, it's difficult to give like concrete advice of what to do here, but if I could suggest one thing, it would be this. Every week or month, slightly increase the challenge of what you do. This does not mean adding more work. It means treating what you do like lifting weights in the gym. You don't jump up in your bench press by 50 pounds at a time. The most developed lifters know that adding the smallest 2.5 pound plate every 1 to 2 weeks is how they see the most progress and stay addicted. And they also understand that ego lifting isn't going to get you anywhere. So I hope this video was helpful. Again, I have a turn your life into a video game AI prompt that I made that is actually pretty sweet. I recommend you check it out, link in the description. And now a few other things is that I'm actually going to start posting 2 weekly letters on Substack. And the newsletter that you guys previously knew that I would send out every Saturday is going to become a kind of high signal summary of everything inside or everything that I've talked about that week. And there's also going to be a paid tier of the Substack for a very low cost. That will be my place where I post like the most practical, life-changing stuff on marketing, creator economy, writing, AI, anything that I find helpful in my own life. I'm going to pop in there, so you can join that if you'd like. Again, links to all of those in the description. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.